Like I say, it's a funny thing. Even as Brian, even on my vacation, they were just trying to bury me down with all kinds of details and everything, and just being like, "Well, let him do it. Let him do it. Well, let him oversee everything. Well, let him do it." Like I said, the United States Congress and even probably Rick Bush and Rodney Briley were too busy running out there having fun, getting girls. Like I said, Nixon would always ask, "How's her legs look?" And stuff like that. And all they cared about was just how a girl's legs worked and blah 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 looked. Or I mean, looked and blah 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 and basically drugs and sex and everything else. And we're just basically just doing whatever they wanted because I was taking care of everything, I guess. Or I had other people taking care of everything. I don't really know. I'm not exactly sure. And it wasn't really until they were really, really, really in deep trouble and basically, so many situations had gone wrong. Like the girl had basically rebuffed them, or like I said, there's a lot of women. I mean, just what's a congressman? What's a congressman? I mean, and like I said, Nixon and a lot of these other people, they thought they could buy any woman or get any woman, and some of the women were happily married and happily in a relationship, or happy, they had money of their own. So like Jackie Kennedy, like she was running from the reason why she married what's his name was because she was running from Nixon or JFK basically, and like the Kennedy brothers. She didn't want to be around them anymore. She hated them. She saw like I say, a lot of people saw how they were treating them, like Marilyn Monroe. Like I said, JFK was the one, or one of them. Basically, he paid people to. She was gonna have this little band and this little thing, and she was gonna go on stage in front of like 1,000 people or 3,000 people. And JFK or Nixon or one of the senators basically paid and handed out tomatoes to throw at her, or handed out and paid people to boo her. So she would feel horrible. And people were like, "Oh, it's audience. Oh, it's audience. You just blah blah blah," and like they were purposely trying to hurt people and purposely trying to get people to give up on what they were doing. And they treated Marilyn Monroe like to make Marilyn Monroe like to make these women like run to these people, that these Alfa Romeos that would protect them and show them the way and even turn the population around and get them to like them. And it was all just a big scam. Not much more different than say somebody at YouTube being like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go ahead and, baby, if you sleep with me, we're gonna make sure that your video and your song is played the most. Yeah, all you gotta do is, go down to Mr. Brown if you're gonna get around." It was basically the same thing as basically Mr. Brown or Mr. The other people. And like I said, they had no power at all. They had to go and force people or harass people or spend money that they really didn't have, just counterfeit money. Like I said, I don't really know and I really don't care. But I mean, I heard about what they did to Marilyn Monroe, and I was shocked and appalled and horrified at what they were doing to Marilyn Monroe. And like I said, there's two or three Marilyn Monroes, or at least two Marilyn Monroes. The original one she started acting or a dance studio eventually, because that was the one that was probably treated the worst or whatever. She started dance studio or something. I think I paid her money, or she was given money from me basically as to say that I was sorry for what they had done to her and everything else like that. So she used the money to basically start a school or something like that, a dance school or acting school or something. And then of course eventually, like I say, the new Marilyn Monroe that or whatever that you guys know from the acting Marilyn Monroe was like the daughter, and then there was another Marilyn Monroe that wasn't even related to Marilyn Monroe, and they came to me and asked me, "Well, would you mind if we had this other girl who, she's not Marilyn, she's not related, she's not whatever, and she changed her name to Marilyn Monroe, and then she was the new Marilyn Monroe, and that's the one I think of from the pictures of the dress coming up and stuff like that." So anyway, like I say, all this history stuff and all this other stuff, had a lot to do with me more than it had to do with anyone else, And I guess that was the problem, because like I said, the congressmen, and that's why Nixon and JFK and all of them, they were basically just a frat group, and mostly just like the Harvard frat group or the Yale frat group or something like that. The brotherhood. We protect ourselves. We're the brothers. Yeah. Anyway, and just epic retardedness and all that other stuff. And I guess that leads into Alfa Romeos and stuff like this and that. I don't really know. And massive amounts of steroid use and this and that, and just a bunch of idiots running around being stupid, and eventually shooting people in the back and killing people, I guess. Like I said, I don't know. I just have some things where like a Chinese consulate or something like that went to the White House and signed over or signing some papers or negotiating some deal with basically the president or something like that, and then the White House or whatever, America, said, well, they never arrived, they never showed up. But like the Chinese consulate knew that those people had actually showed up and actually walked through the door and everything else like that. And America was just deny. Oh, they never came. And what it really was basically Nixon or somebody and basically John McCain, when he was like 50 years old, basically whipped out the Tommy guns and shot them all in the back in the hallway, basically as they were leaving the office or something like that. You know, but what happens behind closed doors? You know, and that also included like the beating of Jackie Kennedy or the beating of some woman, you know, almost to death, where she was just black and blue, and I think she died later on or something like that. She had like 3 or 4 or 5 broken ribs or something like that. It was basically just a big pile of black blood and everything. She looked like a big black and purple pile of blood, you know, tied to a chair. Anyway, and so I have memories of that and records of that, you know, and stuff like that. You know, it's just a lot of really epically horrible things that happened in the White House and around Washington, D.C. And I guess that's what would be considered national security and top secret. And what Rodney Bradley, Rick Bush, and John McCain, Richard Nixon, all of them, all the congressmen don't want to be known. You know, but then, like I say, I mean, it's pretty well evident. Like, there's lots of pictures of Jackie Kennedy walking around with these great big huge glasses that were like way bigger than her eyes, that were like this big or something like that, and you could still see the purple of the wound. And I think some of them said, "Oh, she was crying. Oh, she had some cosmetic surgery done. It's just cosmetic surgery, you know." And it's like this big welt that's right here, and you can actually see it like come down a little, like you know, obviously punched her like that, or punched her, you know, like you can almost see the knuckle or something like that. I don't know. Like they went over all the pictures of the Kennedys and Jackie Kennedy and everything else like that, and it was obvious that Jackie Kennedy was being abused, and it was brought to my attention and brought to other people's attention. And I said, you know, it was just like, you know, obviously the White House, obviously Nixon, and obviously JFK was a really horrible, abusive, mean person that was really jealous of women, so, and of me and of everything else. You know, but the women were going to come forward on everything. You know, the women were going to rat him out, and like Nixon would say, "Till death do us part, baby," or JFK would say, "To death do us part." And like I said, what happened was, after JFK died, the other brother was going to marry Jackie Kennedy and take over. You know, and Jackie Kennedy, she was just a flight stewardess, just someone running from some guy. You know, like she wasn't. I think they thought she was my wife or something like that, or my one true love, or a woman for me or something. And it's like, no, she was just a girl that was running from some psychotic freak, and I said that she could stay in my house and show off the house or something like that, and I gave her some money, like $30,000 or $100,000 or something, and even had a house built for her because, you know, I wanted her to be safe, because, you know, no woman should ever have to run from abuse. I mean, from abusive men. So, you know, and apparently Nixon and JFK or somebody was like, she was running from someone really abusive and someone that was willing to even carpet bomb whole cities just to get to her, or something like that. I don't really know. Like I said, I don't know the details. I just know that she was afraid for her life, and, you know, so I offered protection and even had her protected or something like that. So anyway, and that's why women love me so much. Yes, Lucifer White Star Line. And I was just like this 9-year-old or 6-year-old kid, you know, that happened to be on vacation, happened to be this really rich person and whatever. And you know, many people gathered around me, and basically it's like, snuggles. You know, I mean, I was just this great person. I still am this great person. Like, even though, and that's why they've been trying to get me to kill myself.